Hey everyone, this is Daniel. In today's exciting video, I'm going to show you how you can use Power Virtual Agent chatbots to get answers from either SharePoint or OneDrive. And no, this is not using Power Automate Flow to get it from some SharePoint list or something. No, this is all happening out of the box. The important thing to note is that you can use the PVA chatbot to go ahead and fetch or get the content directly from SharePoint using the signed in user, which means we have to go ahead and take care of the Azure Active Directory authentication. But we'll take a look at that in a minute. What I first want you to see is this demo. So here is my chatbot topic, and I start a conversation by saying, looking for some specific information. The next thing it asks is, what is your question about? So I say, new product innovation. And the moment I do that, it uses the generative answers to get the answer from SharePoint. And first, it gives me an overview summary, but it also gives me the link. And the link takes me to directly where I can find that information in the SharePoint site. So yes, even though this is a fun little chatbot to build, the important thing is that you can actually start doing this to go and get existing content from your SharePoint sites. So stick around, this is very important. But first, here's my intro video. So let's take a closer look at this topics that has already been created. So in my specific chatbot, if I just go one step up before, there's actually my chatbot called AI bot. Click on the AI bot, I'm in the overview, click on topics, and the one that I've created is called as SharePoint stuff, right? So when I click on it, it is important to know that when I go back to my topics, I'm just in my topics, I'm not using any of the plugin actions or anything, all right? Directly inside my topic. So I go back to my SharePoint stuff, and the beginning of the bot is just like the everyday thing, all right? You've got triggers. In my triggers, I've gone in and put in triggers which will go ahead and trigger this topic. After that, I went in and added ask a question. The question is directly identified as a user's response, saves it directly into a variable. And after that, this is where the fun begins, is in the create generative answers node, all right? And just for your curiosity, if I go and click on the add node, and on the add node, I go ahead and do advanced. In the advanced, there is something called generative answers. That's basically the one that I went and did, create generative answers. All right, so whatever is the answer that I get, I'm going to go ahead and save that into a variable. And this is how it is. By the way, right off the bat in this node, you can see that the data sources is coming in from SharePoint and OneDrive. And it automatically does that. It's not something that I type that in. But here's what it is, type that in. But here's the information you're looking for. In the edit, right over here in the generative answers, as I scroll down, you've got two options. Is first of all, go ahead and search public data. So if you go and grab information from some public facing website or a Wikipedia, this is where you go and put the links to that public website. But for our case, it is all coming in through the SharePoint site. So in the SharePoint site, you basically go ahead and put in your URL, click on plus, and it gets saved over here. So let me show you the existing site that I have. So if I go and click on it, double click, do a Control C, open up another tab on the browser, do a Control V, and I hit enter, you will see right off the bat on the URL that this is the root of the site. Now, it's not necessary for me to do that, but I just wanted to prove a point to you is that even though I went and did it in the root of the site, and you see it over here, right? This is basically the SharePoint.com. There is no forward dash sites and any subsite. I've put it to the root. Even though I do this, when the bot is going to go and generate the answers from here, it not only looks at the root site, but all the other subsites as well, all right? So keep this in mind. Next thing is we've told the bot that where to go, but now I gotta tell it how you go ahead and authenticate to that. And that is where some work needs to be done. And this is something either you could do it, or you can go ahead and ask your IT, specifically your Azure Active Directory people, to go ahead and create this authentication. And for that, we need to switch gears now and move from the topics to the settings. So as I click on the settings and I go to security, on the right side under the security section, you click on authentication. And on authentication, the one option that we are using for this scenario is called manual. And yes, it says for custom website, but that kind of is misleading because this is SharePoint. This is the key thing. It says supports Azure Active Directory authentication. And remember, this is what we need to authenticate the sign-in user. That's why you got to go for the manual, and then you select the box which says requires users to sign in. So this is where all the stuff for the configuration that comes in, all right? Now, I'm not going to walk you through it but at least I want to show you what all is involved. So the first thing that you do is you go and click on this learn more about single sign-on or SSO, right? This is where it starts. But you can go and look at the links in the description below, because now I want to spend a little bit of time giving you an overview of the configuration that we have to do. So you're going to come into your Azure portal. You're going to go and click on your Microsoft Entra ID, which used to be called as Azure Active Directory. Click on your app registrations, and I'm going to go and show you the one that I already have. It's called as SharePoint. Right over here you see PVA connection with SharePoint. So that's the one that I actually use, my app registration. And over here there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be configured. So this is how you want to walk through the flow of the documentation. Right over here, this is the first link, configure user authentication with Azure Active Directory. I've put this link in the description below. This is the first place that you want to start with, because it talks about creating a fresh new app and registering that. So it's a very step-by-step documentation, and I've actually followed it word for word. The only change I made over here is because I am located in United States. So I actually replaced this Europe from this URL to United States. Now the documentation says that don't go ahead and do this, because it's actually not what I should be doing. It says using that URL will make the authentication to fail. I think this documentation was built specifically if you are located in Europe. I am located in United States, and therefore this URL actually worked for me. So as I continue to scroll down, you will see that the next steps are there. This is where you go and now create your client secret. You go ahead and basically put down some extension period as to when they should go ahead and expire. All of this is pretty standard operations procedure to go ahead and register an app in your Entra ID. So this is not new. That's why I'm not spending too much time on this. Stuff like this has already been done, but at least I want to show you how you got to configure that from the Power Virtual Agent standpoint. So once you go through this first set of steps, you go ahead and grab all of this information, which is your client secret ID, going ahead and setting up the period. You grab that information because it walks you through it. And then next you jump over to the authentication section. In the authentication section for your Power Virtual Agents, once you're there, you go ahead and click on the settings, go to the manual, and that's where you go and start adding in all this information. Do not do the mistake of selecting the radio button only for Teams. In fact, the documentation states only for Teams. If you go right now and you take a look at it, it says only for Teams and Power Apps because the feature has enhanced. You do not want to go and use this, all right? You want to go and do the manual one because you're setting up this authentication at the user level, all right? So make sure that you stick to that. Don't attempt to do this, all right? It's not going to work. It's going to keep giving you some errors. All right, so we go back over here to our documentation, and after you've gone ahead and started putting in all of this information, make sure for the scopes section, you go ahead and enter in this exact way. Put it lowercase, profile, space, open ID, all put it in this exact same way. Because now that you've done this, you gotta go back into your Azure or your Entra ID's app registration and then configure the API configurations. Now in the API ones, it's very important that you go ahead and set up each and every API. And then after you've done it, make sure that you grant the admin consent for all of your ones over there. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get errors. And let me show you what that is. So if I go now to all my API configurations, you can see for each and every one that I've done it, they have been granted. The status has that check. So none of them should be set pending or any of them should be grayed out. None of them, or you should see this checkbox for each and every one of them, all right? Very important point. So we go back over here, we're going through all these other steps, making sure that when you request the API permissions, use the delegated permissions, don't use the application ones. And then you go and start adding all of these different API types, all right? So I'm just going to scroll down because you see that when you go and get that open ID and profile, you had to go ahead and put that selection directly inside the chatbot. That's because you're making that selection over here in its API, all right? So open API permission. And then again, like I said, you're going to go back and forth, back and forth. And the important thing is that you actually go ahead and set up all of the API connections. Now, keep in mind this one thing that I want to share with you. It is asking for authentication on behalf of the user for all of your SharePoint files and all of your SharePoint sites. Therefore, that in Microsoft Graph, you are searching for files.read.all and also sites.read.all, which means if you're going to use this creating, say, some kind of a service account or something, you will have to give that site a full action level. Now, I know what some of you are saying, Daniel, this is not entirely correct. I can actually go ahead and do it at a site level. There is a way to go and do Azure AD for that. there is a way to go ahead and create an Azure, there is a way to go ahead and register an app for that. I completely agree with you. If that is a process in your company to do it at a site level, go ahead and do that as well. Just make sure that each and every site which is going to be leveraged in your chatbot is in that URL. So it's going to be some additional work for you, so be prepared for that. But for the sake of this demo and for the sake of what this company had to do, they went ahead and put in for all the sites. And yes, they went ahead and accepted that only these specific chatbot with this specific app registration will allow to do it. All right. So keep that in mind. I had to at least tell you what these other options were for the site level. Cool. All right. So finally, when you go back now to your chatbot, in your chatbot, you got to go ahead and put in all of this information. So now that you understand that I went and got my client ID from that Azure app registration, got the secret, went and put in the correct token URL, and then also put in the correct scopes. All of that was done through the Azure app registration. So it's very important that this setting is correct. It's very important that you go ahead and create your Azure app registration, because if any of those steps are missing anything, your chatbot is not going to work. You may get an error over here, or it may just come back, and when you do a search for it, it's not going to come back with anything. So now that you understand this, I want to go and repeat that demo once again, and we'll do that. So keep that in mind, is that this SharePoint site that we went ahead and added directly in our topics. Let's go back and take a look at that again. In the SharePoint stuff, directly in the create generative answers, I went and added only the root one. See, if I click on right, you don't see anything. It's only the root site. But the test that I want to do is as follows. So right in my chatbot, I'm going to actually go and toggle on the track between topics. And let's just have a good conversation. I'm going to go and say, hi there, all right? So it automatically will switch over to this topic. It's the greetings topic. We know that is correct. And just to make sure I don't make any mistakes, I'm going to go and paste this first conversation. It says looking for some information. So it immediately switched over to the SharePoint stuff topic that we created. Remember the one that has the generate creative answers. So the question I want to ask the bot is, tell me something about this new person hired for this chief marketing department. So based on natural language, I'm just going to go and say new chief marketing person. All right. I'm just going to put it that way. The bot is going to go and search directly using the generative answers, pulls the data straight from SharePoint and comes over here. So it's giving me all of these links. First of all, it's saying, hey, Miriam Graham is the new chief marketing officer, and it's giving me some links. So let's start with the first one. The first one that it's giving me a recommendation as 3 references. I click on it. It is still on the root site. It's just in the pages of that root site, all right? Which is not bad. Right off the bat on the root site level, I got a lot of information about our new chief marketing officer. Gives me basically a good overview of that. Next link, if I go and click on it, another tab opens up and I watch the URL. It is actually one site level deep. And that is to prove to you that it just doesn't do a search at the top level just because that's the URL we put in. Even though we put in the top root URL of the site, and remember, we've got the sites all and the read all level access from the API, we are able to go all the sites deep. We are able to go all the subsites deep, and that's why we are able to go into this one subsite. And then let's go and take a look at the last one. Click on that link. It actually opens up another site, but check this out. It is another subsite completely, all right? So the one before we had was a subsite called The Perspective. This one over here is subsites called Contoso News. So I just wanted to drill down that one point, is that yes, you put that root site, but it's all dependent on the access level of that user to go ahead and look at all of these sites over there, okay? Very, very important point to think about. But overall, we successfully got the information we were looking for using the chatbot, but getting information directly from the SharePoint site. And there you go. These are basically all the nodes that we did. We didn't have to use any Power Automate. We didn't have to go and do any searching. Create generative answers was the one node that we added, and that did all the work for us. So hopefully this got you excited, and now your wheels are turning on how you can go ahead and leverage existing SharePoint content and pull that in directly inside Power Virtual Agents chatbot using the create generative answers. And now not only can you go ahead and pull in the .aspx pages, but any of the Word documents that you may have, or even PDF documents that you may have, even all of those can be leveraged. So hopefully this gave you some information. Hopefully you're excited. And as always, keep using Power Virtual Agents. Hello. So if you like this video, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and smash that like button. Also, if you have a few extra seconds, can you go ahead and put in a comment? Either say something nice or give me ideas for my next video. And until then, see ya.